Son of a gun. Well, we're here with the Talk with Angels podcast. We was muted.
Oh, Justin.
That's
every time you've done it.
What this is because this one we don't have an intro.
Oh.
So for the wrestling ones, we have the intro. It counts down. It does it itself. My bad. Reintroduction.
Okay.
Talk with Angels podcast. I'm Justin Woolwine.
I'm Pops. Clayton Woolwine here.
Today's topic
is
does prison actually rehabilitate you? And just for clarification, like I said when we was muted, you have been a resident inside of a prison.
Right.
I have been a resident inside the Winnebago County Jail, which inmates
I had to classify before I was released for a felony charge.
Okay.
So yes, I have not really prison, but yes, I was classified. I was there a very short time, and kicked out.
I think before we go on, I just want to, because I don't want people to get caught up on the word prison.
Right.
The reason we put
incarceration
is, for one, it's just an easy term for people to understand.
What incarceration, jail, prison,
it's all basically the same thing.
Even down to in the United States, prison is a big business.
Okay.
There's a lot of I got facts here, but there's a lot of facilities. A whole lot. Like some studies suggest that between hold on. Okay, we're gonna get to that later because I don't want to jump ahead after. But there's a lot of different facilities. It's a big business. There is over they make over $3.9 billion in annual revenue and approximately 374 million in profits off of the private prison system.
Okay.
So with that being said, it's a big business to keep people incarcerated in a lot of ways. Rehabilitation isn't really profitable. They want those repeat offenders. There's a lot of repeat offenders. As of right now, there are 2 million people on any given day in jail or prison. Males are incarcerated at a much higher rate than females.
Okay.
In 2012, it's reported nearly half, 46%, returned to prison within 3 years, and that's a Bureau of Justice statistic. The Department of Justice shows inmates who participate in educational programs are 43 less likely to return, but a lot of those programs have been cut out of the prison system, so it makes it
okay.
Let's
talk about let's talk about the program in prisons that are designed to rehabilitate.
Yes.
Okay. When you were incarcerated, what were some of the classes or programs that may have been provided to you or asked to be given to you to rehabilitate you?
Oh, okay, so look, when I was incarcerated, up until this last extravaganza of mine, I had no urge.
Okay, that's not the question.
But I'm just telling you,
Okay,
so I don't know. I was never offered nothing. They didn't make them readily available. It wasn't like there was like, oh, yeah, there's GD classes. There's domestic violence classes. And like here, I know in Winnebago, it's different. Everybody's signing up for classes to get out of the pod and this and that. But where I was in West Virginia at certain facilities, you didn't want to go out there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You want to stay
where you can control.
Yeah. You want to stay in your own area. Okay. There wasn't no need to go. Does that make sense?
Yes. So I guess, do you think, in theory, because the point of those classes is rehabilitation. That's the whole thing. They put these programs and classes into the prison system, arguably just for more money, so they can get more funding. But do you think those that take those classes and take them seriously, do you think it rehabilitates them at all?
Well, here's what I know from all my times going in and out of jails, wherever. Uh, you don't figure it out and get right from anything they do for you or to you.
Okay.
It's on your own. Like this last time I'm innocent of what I was incarcerated for this last. So I went in with this mindset of I know I'm going to be released.
A different mindset.
A different mindset. I know God's got me. I ain't got nothing to worry about. And I went in there and I read books,
Mind your
lounged,
business.
mind my business, prayed, meditated, whatever you want to call it, all the time. Uh Stayed out of the way. And it was a really pro spiritual, like as far as my spiritual journey, it was really positive because I was isolated. I got time to reevaluate my life, reevaluate what I wanted to do with myself. I didn't take no programs, I didn't listen to none of that.
Mm-hmm.
And like the whole jail incarceration thing, I'm still really on the fence about the whole legal thing.
Mm-hmm.
For one, because I grew up in the legal system my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's corrupt. I know for a fact I've seen it firsthand. I know anytime you got a game system, like somebody's trying to win to better their self for their career, people cheat. So if it's a you versus me, we're playing to win, the prosecution versus the defense, people cheat. The police cheat to run their numbers up. And I don't think you can uphold law by breaking law.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like so. And they're never going to start over. Like they're never going to fix it. So you can only hope they reform it to make it better. Does that make sense? Because like they're never just going to tear down the justice system and start over. There's always going to be judges and lawyers, but it was set up with honorable people in mind. They didn't have flawed humans in mind. They're racing to be the best prosecutor in the world. Or does that make sense?
I get what
Because
you're
like even little kids cheat at board games.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's in us. It's in our human nature. If you make it about winning and losing, that we're going to compete.
Mm-hmm.
And with that competition, there's flawed human beings that will cheat. You know, it's like a grown man cheating at cards. You're like, what are you doing with your life? You see, you see what I'm saying? But people do it. So therefore, I don't believe the justice system is fair in that light at all. So the whole rehabilitation thing is kind of a joke too, to me, in my personal opinion.
Okay.
Now we can go with the
The
facts.
facts here in a minute. So my thing is, I guess, so what you're saying is, just to break it down, the short form of your long answer is pretty much that you don't think that rehabilitation is the main focus because it's a game of who can get their numbers up.
Who can get the money and who can get the numbers up. Now, what us as individuals who have been inmates or prisoners, what we do with that time while we are in there could be crucial into our rehabilitation.
Okay.
I don't think government rehabilitation is ever going to work. I think you got to be self-aware and rehabilitate yourself and realize, because like I looked at the justice system like this for a long time. You know the cartoon, the Looney Tunes cartoon,
Mm-hmm.
where you got the sheepdog and you got the coyote trying to steal the sheep, and every morning they clock in and it's like, hi Bob, hi Sam, and they're fighting all day and then they clock out at the end of the day. I look at cops like that and the justice, like the prisoners, like I'm doing my job. My job is to break the law and get away with it. Your job is to catch me. And that's the way I looked at it a lot growing up. It just was like, and I don't know more. Like now I look at it as if you want to change it rather than fighting them that way. You got to fight them by showing people, talking to people, raising awareness on how much stuff is really wrong.
Okay.
And if all of us step up as individuals and bound together and raise awareness to these facts, then things start to change.
Okay. A lot again. My thing is, I guess, in just once again jumping back to the question, do you think it's the prison that rehabilitates you, or the facility, or is it what you do inside that yourself
Yes.
that rehabilitates
Yes. It's what you do in there yourself and what you take from it. Like, if you're in there and you're hanging around with a bunch of young guys that, for instance, I was in Kentucky,
you. Hmm.
okay, and there was this riot that happened because everybody hung out together in this big room. There's a dorm, big room, beds, everybody's together, and everybody in there is they're on drugs.
Okay.
So then next thing you know, there's a riot breaks out. These guys are fighting because this guy's doing this guy's doing this. You see what I'm saying? So it's who you. The whole time I'm sitting on my bunk. I'm not gonna say I wasn't high, but I was sitting on my bunk, just reading the Bible, and they were warring around me, hitting each other, stuff's flying everywhere. They're jumping around, beating each other with these things in the socks, like just crazy, crazy. Methed out dude is taking them like a champ. Just it was nuts.
Okay.
But I was just sitting there reading my Bible. Like, I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to stay out of it. I'm going to stay to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got an attitude like that and you're hanging out with like the older guys that are trying to tell you, look, you got a life ahead of you. Don't come back in here. Don't do this shit. That could be positive. Like some of those stories. A lot of Bible study in jail. Not just Bible study. Actually, a buddy of mine, Shiesty, he was locked up here. He's Muslim, and I would pray with him sometimes. Just because I think the Muslim way of prayer, the dedication of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is very inspirational as far as the dedication to God, to stop, how many every times a day and pray. I think that's amazing. I think that God likes that. I do it myself. Not like they do. I don't face the sun or nothing like that, but I do it myself. Uh, so just conversing with those different types of people and learning about how they were coping helped me a lot as well.
What are some of the tools that you utilized while incarcerated that helped you maybe rehabilitate your mind and body?
Well, for one, you're not the food there is horrible, but you're not putting nothing bad in your body. There's very low sugar intake. There's very low caffeine.
There's not a lot
intake.
good for you, but there's not a lot bad
for you either. Right.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? So there's not a lot good for you, but there's not a lot bad for you. So it's kind of like a cleanse in a way and a fast.
Okay.
In other ways, because you're fasting from certain stuff, chemicals, different things. I know the food's spiked with bullshit, and the water is probably
Garbage
too.
Yes.
There's a lot of bad things. You can't get proper health care. Look, the inmates have it the worst. They have I got terms here. Some of them wrote down 23-1. I'm sure you know what 23-1 means. You're locked down 23 hours a day. They let you out 1 hour a day to shower or go outside, supposedly outside. Here, it ain't even outside. You're in a room with some air vents. And it's
you don't even get
crazy.
Sunlight.
You don't get sunlight.
I'm 11 months with no
sunlight.
Sunlight.
So no vitamin D. Yes, like it's horrible. It's miserable. I think it's inhumane in a lot of ways. But with that being said, I'm also a firm believer that there are people that do deserve to be.
You're getting on a tangent.
Let's
revert back to the question.
Okay.
Before we get to where you're going, because we'll get there.
Okay.
100%.
But I just don't want people to think like I'm completely against the justice system or the prison system. Because I'm not.
That's fair.
Okay.
We'll get there. And we're not. There's people that do crimes that
they
deserve
definitely
to be where they are.
Yes.
Disclaimer out of the way. We'll dive deep in there when we need to.
Okay.
What tools can you utilize to rehabilitate yourself? If the system's not doing it for you, what can you do?
The first thing, I didn't want to rehabilitate myself till I got connected with my higher power.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Once you connect with that energy, then it rehabilitates you on its own. Like it rehabilitates you from the inside out. Kind of.
That makes sense. A little bit.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like it
Can you break it down a little bit for us?
Well, it changes your views. You start looking at things from both sides.
Okay.
So before, it might have been like I don't understand why this person is this way. But now you can see it from their point of view, kind of too.
Okay. I guess a good example would be whenever, let's say, for instance, just I'll be real personal with it, I guess. When I got incarcerated, I was mad at a lot of people that were around my situation. Whether they were involved, weren't involved, they want when I got incarcerated, they took advantage of certain situations. I was upset. I felt betrayed, hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We talked about it on the phone,
Yeah.
obviously. And it was one of those things in there. It's like, okay, do I sit in here with my, 24 hours inside this little box and dwell on that and be mad and brew and be mad? Or do I say, okay, look, they did what they did. I got to move on. It's not like me dwelling on that ain't going to help me get out of here faster. Me dwelling on it ain't going to make them change how they went about that situation at all.
No.
So it's one of those, I think, if anything, being in that situation of being incarcerated makes you learn more than anything the ability to forgive people.
That, yes. Just also, like, you're in there and you're self-reflecting.
Yes.
So you have nowhere. At first, you start blaming everybody else, but then you start looking back and you're like, man, if I wouldn't have did this, I wouldn't have. That wouldn't have happened. If I had listened to them, if I wouldn't have listened to them, you know what I mean? So yes, so it's self-reflecting, and then when you get out, your relationships are different. The way you deal with the world is different from that point on. And I've been multiple times. I got out multiple times. And each time something else changed. It does change something. Does it rehabilitate you? Not necessarily, because I remember I didn't go to jail for the first time until I was like 26. And I went in, I was there 7 months, my first time ever being. So it's not like I went in on a charge and got picked up and bonded out. I couldn't do none of that. I've never been to jail before. First time I had to go in 7 months straight. And like most people don't deal with that. Most people, they go to jail for a traffic ticket, they get the bond out. They get a DUI, they get the bond out. There was no bonding out.
They weren't playing with you.
I found guilty. I was found guilty. I had done been given all other opportunities. You're going to jail. And you got to be there next Thursday, show up, and you will get out next May. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? No.
That works.
But I go in there and I had never been, so it was terrifying. I ain't gonna lie, it really was. The first time it was kind of scary. Now not so much, but I went in there and learned so much more criminal behavior.
Yes.
Do you see what it like? I learned absolutely so much more shit. It was like they were making a monster.
That's the first thing you learn is how to do more criminal behavior.
Yes, and you got to be twice as sneaky because they're watching from everywhere. So,
I think let's dive into that. Actually,
so like
that's an interesting
made
part.
hooch. I've seen people smuggling.
You're in there smuggling contraband.
Look, I had a guy at one point that was bringing cocaine and weed and tobacco in every weekend, and I was making money. So like around my cell, stacks of commissary everywhere, and the guards would come in to search, and I throw them a candy bar, and I went to high school with them. So they're like, "Oh, thanks, Clay," and leave. You know, my cell never got searched. Like, and then I had people telling me like that I was helping out in there, other inmates, that I'm giving free shit. I think we're cool. The whole time they're jealous of you, they tell me, and I end up in the hole. I've had multiple stuff. I was in a riot in Kentucky, like I said, just crazy stuff in there. Guy goes to church all week. All week he's walking around praising God, singing about Jesus. And then on the weekends he's making wine. And the police come in to search and he's got it down his pants and they leave and he pulls it back out. And like we're all saving up the whole pot, saving up for this wine. And nothing good comes when you get drunk in a concrete cell with a bunch of felons.
It just doesn't work, man. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yes, it's a recipe for disaster. Next thing you know, you're all down the hole because you're all intoxicated.
You all just got in a fight pit.
Right. And now you got a new charge. So there's a lot of that.
Well, I remember.
As I've gotten older, though, I tend to stay away from all that shit.
Fair enough. But like I remember when I got in there, everybody immediately the first thing everybody tells you is you're guilty. No matter what you do, you're guilty.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know the facts of your case, so then they can tell you how you're screwed.
Or they can tell you if you're a rat or not. They want to know if you're. That's why they want to really see your paperwork. But then they start talking about your case, and a lot of them are rats, and they want to know about your case so they can go tell on you and get out of trouble.
That's the first thing that happens.
Yes, and you got to learn that real quick.
But afterwards, they want to tell you the facts of your case so they can tell you how you did it wrong.
Right.
So if you get out and decide, hey, I want to do this again, you can do it better, which is it never works that way.
No.
Never at all.
Well, I mean, I've been doing it for quite some time. It has never once worked out quite the way I planned it to. I would have probably been locked up for the rest of my life if it wasn't for God. Like, if I hadn't found God, and like I said, I'm not religious. It's just a relationship, though, that you have. And it's a relationship with something you know is real, even though you can't physically see and touch it. And the love that it gives you, like, it shows me I'll have a lesson and then I'll be double blessed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So how I deal with that lesson is how big the blessings are coming. Like,
yeah.
And so once you realize that relationship and you work with it and let God work on you, because all God wants you to do is be the best version of yourself you can be.
Yep.
That's all, He created. You're created to come here and fulfill a purpose. Not everybody's aware of that purpose yet. Like even me, I'm not always aware of what the purpose is. I just keep moving forward with faith that God will direct me to that purpose and not let me fail in fulfilling that purpose.
Okay.
And I think when people start looking at it like that, rather than wanting somebody else to rehabilitate you or looking for some class to rehabilitate you, because there's nothing wrong with you. If here's my thing, if you could look at this world and not think that there's a problem, like that some shit's off, then you probably got a problem.
Agreed.
Like if you could look at the justice system and I'll read some of these facts, like just the reoffender facts. Even half the people go back to prison. 46%, almost half.
Yes.
So if half and 80 some at least get arrested one time within 10 years. So those numbers, people aren't. It's not working. There's got to be a better way. And then if you get into some of this stuff, like even with like people innocent, and innocent people in jail, the justice system's flawed. How many people? Let me ask you this: as far as death row cases go, right? How many people do you think is wrong, or do you think is a reasonable number to execute, and them have actually been innocent? What's a reasonable number? Because right now, if you run off the numbers, there's a lot of people that's like 4 to 6%.
Which is, I mean, any number I think.
Right. So how many if you're talking about life in prison or taking a life, either or, because prison sometimes is a mental.
Just throw it out there. A life sentence in some cases could be argued as worse than death.
Yes.
I'm letting you know I spent 11 months inside of a facility, and there was times in there where going through my head, I'd much rather die than be here. So a life sentence is, it's a death sentence.
So look, some studies suggest between 4 to 6% of people in U.S. prisons are innocent. With a prison population roughly of 2.3 million, that would mean between 92,000 and 138,000 people are wrongfully imprisoned in the U.S. right now at this very moment. Now, does that seem like those are reasonable numbers?
Well, and also before you move on to the next fact, that means that 90-some thousand to the 138,000, they are not being rehabilitated because they didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
You can't rehabilitate if there's nothing to rehabilitate.
Right. Okay. So, and just like you're talking about private prisons, and I was telling you how much they made earlier.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so as far as prisons goes, there's 1,566 state prisons, 98 federal prisons, 3,116 local jails, 1,277 juvenile correction facilities, 133,000 or 133 immigration detention facilities, and 80 Native American county jails, as well as military prisons, civil commitment centers, state psychiatric hospitals, and prisons in U.S. territories. Uh, there's a system-wide cost of at least 182 billion each year in taxpayers' costs.
So $182
billion
dollars of taxpayer
money goes
is
into
spent
running
on
all these facilities.
the
Okay, and then then you get a private prison, which private prison systems in the US make 3.9 billion in annual revenue, approximately 374 million in profit. Okay, from government contracts to house inmates. 8% of the prisons and jails in the United States. So out of that big number I said earlier, that 182 billion, 8% of those are private owned. So out of that, and it's growing, it's growing. So the private owned prisons and jails, they're getting paid, billions of dollars, and those are what the elected officials are being funded by. So like the people that are funding the campaigns to get these guys in office are the ones running these private prisons that are making billions of dollars, and then they're donating millions to the campaigns to keep a lot of the laws in place to keep the prisons full. Because if the prisons aren't full, there's no grant money, there's no federal funding, and they want them big federal dollars. So it's all a revolving system. So do they really want to rehabilitate you? It's the same as like pharmaceuticals. Do they really want to cure you know what I mean? The only way we'll cure it and people will be rehabilitated is if us together as people, individuals, realize that it's all a trap.
And are either
reprogram our own thing.
Ourselves to, for one, stop doing the crime in the first place.
Right, because you can't beat them that way. And here's something else. The average American commits so many crimes a week without even knowing they're committing them. So at any time you say something like, we get on here, we have this podcast, whatever. If the federal government would pick up and they didn't like something we said, they could find something to come and arrest me for and haul me off to jail. So at any time, and that's any citizen, from granny cashing her social security check, going to the laundromat, living alone,
bare minimum
doing nothing, they can find, because for instance, logging in and using unprotected Wi-Fi is a felony.
Yes.
Most people did not. You're stealing unprotected Wi-Fi. You're committing a felony. They can lock you up and put you in prison.
Yes.
So just so people are aware, it's a game. It's not, and
it's just a matter of how picky they would be.
And they call it the return rate on prison is recidivism. And factors of recidivism are the lack of education, opportunities for housing instability, substance abuse issues, and lack of employment opportunities, which all of those things instantly, as soon as you catch a charge and become a felon, you have a major issue with.
Yes, because gaining a felony, it's harder to get a job, it's harder to get housing, which usually when you have these problems leads to substance abuse. And then, all those factors make it hard to get employed.
Right. And they don't give you no training or no way to bring it back. You know what I mean? So they're setting you up for failure right from the jump.
I want to touch on that a little bit more. Because, a part of rehabilitation is the factor when you get out, what you do then. I think the hardest part about trying to get back into society and become productive is all the limitations they put on you. Yes, if you got a felony, there's a punishment. You've made a mistake, But then to make it harder for you to get a job at any
Right,
level,
right.
for you to
Well, okay, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, which is not necessarily always the case. And then once you're rehabilitated, your debt to society is supposed to have been paid,
yes, once you
and
get
you're
out,
supposed to start fresh.
yes,
But when you can't rent a place because nowhere will rent to a felon or rent to somebody who's been incarcerated, and you can't get a job
because they don't trust
because
you,
nobody trusts
because
you,
they labeled you.
right? Because they labeled you, and then they also got you going to see this person for this and this class for this,
Yes.
so that they can line more pockets and get more funding. And then, by that time you're wore out, and a lot of people are living in the same atmosphere that they went to jail in. They had to go right back to where they went, and that's where all the drugs and the problems were. And like, as far as substance abuse, 95% of substance abuse involved relapse to, like, 95% of the people that are incarcerated over something that involved drug use, they get back out, and when they're released, they relapse. 95%. So are we really?
Do you think that's because
That's a huge number.
Do you think that's because of the situation they are returning to once they get out of being incarcerated?
That and the amount of pressure they try to put on anybody. I know you were on paper.
Yes, I was on probation for 4 years.
Okay, I've been on it. They make it impossible almost. They try.
Look, I was told by the my public defender whenever I accepted the plea bargain, hey kid, I don't know if this is a good idea because 98% of people fail this.
Right.
And you're getting out. When I got out at the time, you were in, you wasn't around.
No.
There was nowhere. I couldn't get housing because I was kicked out of housing when I was when I got incarcerated. So there's like, look, your odds are going to be higher than that.
Because you have nowhere to go. You're on the streets. You have
You're
nowhere.
on the streets. It's
have no
cold.
job.
You
have
no
nothing.
job.
Right.
No car. No nothing.
A lot of times the men's shelters won't even take you in if you've just been released.
No, they wouldn't. I can tell you, I was.
Yeah, if you've just been released, they don't have no beds for you.
They don't care.
So you're automatically setting these people up to come out and not be rehabilitated. Like, their first instinct is to go grab them drugs and make that quick money and get themselves a roof over their head. And that goes back to, like, what crimes should really be people be in prison for. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're not giving people options. If your options are sell drugs or go hungry, it's not much of a fucking option.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not much of a fucking option. Like, I know firsthand, it's not much of an option. You're going to, the lesser two evils, and you're going to feed your people. It's just the way it is. And that's survival of the fittest. That's human instincts. And to punish people for surviving at all costs, could they? Of course, yes, they could change their life and they could go get a job. Yes, but when they don't know no better and they've never had nobody teach them any better, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just know I'm self-taught at some of this. Was it because I wasn't taught by my parents? No, it was because I seen things growing up, and I seen things, and I see the way the world works, and I see it's not fair for a lot. There's not a lot of fair choices for a lot of people.
Something that I guess I've struggled with a lot of times is when you bring up are you going to eat or are you going to sell these drugs thing?
Yeah.
A lot of people will look at you and be like, well, why didn't you just get a job? And my response is always, put yourself in my shoes. Okay. Let's say in theory, you got an eviction notice. You got 3 kids in the house. You got
pay me a fair wage.
You got $15 in your pocket.
Pay me a fair wage.
Time out. My thing is by the time you get a job, the whole process is going to take you a week or two. Mm-hmm. Then it's another 2 or 3 weeks before you get a paycheck. Mm-hmm. What am I supposed to do for this month in between?
All because you made some bad choices somewhere. And now you're trying
even before that, if you come up from poverty.
Right.
And you're trying to fight from the bottom.
Right. Well, okay, here's the key to that. You can't make no mistakes. You can't have no babies. You can't because those are all things that will keep you there.
Yes.
And those are things I dealt with. I had, you know what I mean? I had children.
You had children young.
Right.
You made
I had,
mistakes
so
young.
I made some bad mistakes young. But I don't consider them bad mistakes because I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't
Which
for
is
those
fair.
choices.
But society treats it as a bad mistake.
Society looks at it as like, this guy fucked his own self up. He's on his own. And it's kind of like you're out there on your own and survival of the fittest dude. And at that point, so maybe as society, we want true reform on prisons and crime and people. Maybe instead of just treating them like no good criminals, maybe treat them like you would treat your own kids. You know what I mean? Like your kids fuck up, you don't disown.
You don't throw them away.
I mean, most people
you
don't.
should not
you
throw a child away.
Like, you know what I mean? My kids could drive a car full of nuns off the bridge, and I'm still gonna love them no different. They could kill a whole 20 million people. I wouldn't give a fuck. I love them like there's a
problem. We're gonna have a discussion.
We're gonna have a discussion. There's a problem, but
at that point maybe you should be in prison.
Right. But I'm gonna come visit you.
I'm gonna love you.
I'm still gonna come visit you, and you'll get
unconditional love.
You'll get some commissary money.
Maybe. I don't know, 20 million's a lot.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that when people are coming out and even like, you know, you see some people out there, like, I got tattoos all over me. People see these and will look at you different. And maybe instead of that, maybe just embrace those people, because some of the nicest, greatest people I've ever met in this whole world, the realest, loyalist, I met locked up.
Yeah. 100%.
I met them in there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, everybody, you know, I don't like to say Jesus a lot. I say Yeshua, but Yeshua didn't hang out with the reputable people. He hung out with the sinners. And that's probably because them reputable people are hiding stuff. Like all them people that are them prosecutors that just want to get them wins in the column, that are sending innocent people away so they can get a promotion. Them people ain't no good. That cop that's pulling people over to make quota, harassing some mom that just dropped her kids off from school, that's got a little bit of weed in her car, that cop ain't no good. Like, you gotta look at things. You know, us as individuals, as a society, need to judge each individual case on its merits and look at it from a perspective of both sides of the coin. You know what I mean? Like, does the crime really warrant the punishment? That's my philosophy. First time I was incarcerated, it was over somebody had slept with my spouse, and I had beat the dude up. And I beat him up. We beat him up pretty bad. He got beat up pretty bad.
Okay.
So I probably deserved to be punished.
Yes.
Definitely deserved to be punished. But also, that motherfucker knew better than to be sleeping with my old lady.
That's fair.
So he deserved to get his ass whooped. So you see what I'm saying?
Sure.
I'm just saying, if there's, do you know what I mean? There's like cause and effect. So if we want to help people that are coming out of prison, rather than just label them something, maybe give them a chance. And I'm not talking about like child predators. I don't think they should ever even get out. And they're the ones that get the least time out of everybody, which is insane. That tells you the whole system's screwed.
Yeah.
And then like also, it's like 7 times higher rate of ethnicities. Ethnics.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
We understand.
Getting arrested over white people.
Yes.
And that's because the crimes. It's not because they're different. It's because there's poor people crimes and then there's rich people crimes. You see what I'm saying? And the poor people crimes, they prosecute shit out of. Everybody's got to go to jail.
Yes.
But these business rich crimes,
drugs, the prostitution,
right,
the violent activities, the robberies, the burglaries,
the petty theft, all that stuff, they want to lock you up forever for, and they want to lock you up over and over and over and over. But these businessmen that are stealing billions out of old ladies' bank accounts and old ladies' savings, it's not like that. They get probation, they go home.
Probation, write us a check.
Yes. And so I think that's a problem, because then it's a us versus them. It's a poor versus a haves versus a have-nots. and that puts a whole difference. Like, you can't fix the society. I don't think they want to fix the broken prison system. I just don't think they want to fix it. And then you talk about, like, for instance, people on death row. You think about the death sentence, right? So since 1973, over 200 people have been sentenced to death and later been exonerated. So 200 people since 1973 have been sentenced to die, and then they killed them, and they found out they're innocent. Like, that's.
And so my question is,
and the death penalty still in 27 states, still carried.
Okay, we'll get there once again with those 200 people. So 200 families lost a family member who was wrongly convicted. So not only did they live their lives thinking, hey, this person could be guilty of this crime, so they got to live with that fact.
Right.
And then this person's killed by the state.
Right.
And then they later found out they're innocent. So they lost all that time with that individual.
All that, both, and so it affects all their family members.
Not only them. It's not only a life loss. That's a mother, a father,
and that's causing the other children or the other brothers, the other sisters to get right in the same.
They either want to get right into it,
correct,
or it puts them down a whole different.
Okay, and then let's look at it this way. Okay, 200 people sentenced to death and exonerated afterwards, right? So was the prosecutor or the cops, were they charged with murder?
No, absolutely not.
But they killed that guy. Okay, and there's been cases where they've proven that these prosecutors and these cops knew it wasn't them, that person. But rather than come up and say, you know what? It's kind of like when you lose your keys, right? You and your fiance, you lose your keys, and you're like, I didn't have them. And she's flipping out on you, and you're flipping out on her. You can't find them nowhere, right? And then you realize they're in your back pocket or something stupid. Now, do you throw them down on the ground and not say nothing? Or do you man up and say, I fucked up. I messed up, sorry. And like a lot of the police or the prosecutors, they won't do that. No. Like, they just won't. They don't. I know firsthand. I'm dealing with it right now, actually. So I know. It's wrong. And I just think with that, like, that's way too many deaths. I don't think there should be any way. You can't give life. You can't just poof, let it be life. You shouldn't be able to take it away. Like, I think until we have 100% flawed. If they had 100%.
Look, I'm gonna throw this out there. Even since you said it, I don't think the death penalty under any circumstance makes sense, and I'll explain why. For that fact, time out. I know. Look, I know. I'm not.
I think everybody.
Anybody.
Listen, I think everybody's entitled to their opinion. If you believe in the death penalty, you're entitled to believe that way.
Let me finish my opinion. Okay, this is somewhere where I can say what, like, it's.
Yep, you're right.
Okay, if somebody has to disagree, they can get in the chat and disagree. Feel free. I don't think if you can't just give a life, like you said, I don't think you should just be able to take it. So I don't think a system like our flawed justice system should be able to say, hey, we want our numbers up, and the consequence of that is we could take your life.
Well,
is bullshit, because what if you didn't do it?
Right. Okay, but here's their argument. Their argument is that it's a low percentage number, and so the National Academy of Science found that 4.1% of condemned individuals in the U.S. right now are likely innocent. So 4.1%.
That's only the people that you've case studied and found out.
Right. No. Statistics are always also, but still, even at that low percent, 4%.
Okay, it's 4% is too much, but you're also not taking the people that were railroaded into just saying, okay, look, I don't want to deal with this no more. I'm guilty.
Right.
Or the people, like, for instance, just throwing it out there that maybe you get in an argument with your significant other, and that significant other decides to call the police on you and say that something happens. They take one word over the other. It's a conviction. Like, those things are just, once again, circumstantial. Like, why?
Not just that. Okay, look, in the U.S., we're one of the only countries that allows the police to lie to a suspect.
Insane.
So you got some.
You're gonna feed me false information to
a
get
19-year-old,
real information.
You got
out
a
of me.
19-year-old man whose brain doesn't develop correctly. He's not a mature adult till 25. It's proven. Or you got a 16-year-old kids in there, and you're interrogating him, and you're telling him, we got your DNA, we got your fingerprints, we got 3 eyewitnesses. They just picked you out of a lineup. Your buddy's in the other room, giving up everything, and none of it's true. And
There
the whole time you think
there was no fingerprints.
The death penalty's on the table. You were putting a needle in your arm. It's already done, son. We don't need nothing from you. We're already done. But if you want to tell your side of the story,
just write it down.
By the time the interview's over, you're like, damn, did I do it?
You're confused.
Like, did I kill somebody? Like, you know what I mean? So I just don't think that should ever happen either. And like, the reason it never gets changed is because the police unions don't want it changed.
Well, I'm also going to throw this out here.
And you would think they would.
With the police thing, a big part of my case, let's just say it's out there, I've talked about it on here. During interrogation, the detectives remained with, you tell us the truth, we'll send you home. Mm-hmm. The very base, that's all you want in this moment, is to get over this conversation and go home.
When you ain't going home.
And you're not going home. You know when I found out I was going home? 11 months later when I signed the paperwork for probation. I didn't know I wasn't going home until they're walking me out and putting me in the back of the wagon.
People will say, though, it's criminals. You're lying to them. It should be allowed. They shouldn't be breaking the law. Well, here's the thing. You can't correct them breaking the law by breaking the law. Two wrongs don't make a right.
And once again, the whole premise of our justice system is innocent until proven guilty. You can't treat somebody like a criminal until you've proven without 100% fact that they are a criminal.
I beg to differ, sir.
Well, that's what they'd say.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ. It's just crazy. I just don't know how many we're supposed to be the greatest country on the planet. It's supposed to be the greatest country. I call it hell's heaven, but it's supposed to be the greatest country on the planet. And we're comfortable with, like I said earlier, 92 to 130-some thousand people being incarcerated that are wrongfully convicted. We're comfortable with 4% of the people on death row being innocent. To me, that's just, it's unacceptable. Well, have you seen the Netflix documentary we watched about the dude up in Wisconsin, the one that was convicted and got out, Avery's?
I have not.
Stephen Avery's. Well, if you haven't watched it, everybody should go check it out. And I think he ended up being a criminal or whatever, or guilty. But for a long time, they was just framing his ass. And it's just crazy, like, because they want to win. It's set up that they got to win. You don't win, you're going to lose your spot.
Another thing I think I want to touch on is the fact that now I've had people tell me to my face, if you are a criminal, you should be eradicated.
Oh, civilians. Yeah.
So we, as a society of now, not only have labeled criminals or felons or whatever, but now you have a society, a certain section of people believing that if these people exist, they should no longer exist.
They don't deserve to be.
So you're fueling.
Okay.
The fire.
I'm not going to get into like politics or the immigration stuff going on or any of that, but I'm not comfortable with them just jerking people up like they do. I'm not comfortable with masked people in our streets just pulling people everywhere. I think there's got to be a better solution to all that.
I'm going to throw this out there. If you're proud enough to walk out there and take someone out the street, you should at least show your damn face.
And you should have your badge out, and you should.
Yes.
And I just think there's a lot of double standards. And look, I think it was fucked up that they left the borders open and let it get like this to begin with. I think
different conversation.
But I'm just saying, I think it is because even the immigrants that came here legally, I'm sure they feel the same.
I'm sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like, maybe the government knows what they're doing and they're playing both sides against each other. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the way I look at it. And I think a lot of people, rather than pointing fingers and saying you're a Democrat or you're a Republican or you're left or right,
you're a criminal, you're not
right. I think everybody needs to just love each other, man, and talk to each other and talk things out. Because if not, they're going to end up having us with no freedoms, no rights. And they'll just lock whoever the fuck they want up. Like I told you, the average person commits at least 3 felonies a day and does not know
Well,
it.
and then the question won't be rehabilitation.
Right. There
It'll
is no
be
rehabilitation for nobody.
Sitting in a concrete box for
And
no
I've
reason,
been there.
over nothing.
I've been there. It's not fun.
It's
You
not.
know, like even for instance, they lock people up for drug use.
Mhm.
Like, okay, you're in trouble, you're on probation, you got pee in a cup. Why? Why does my drug use affect? I'm not hurting nobody but me.
Mhm.
So
Fair.
why should, if I'm using drugs, why should that put me back in jail? Like, if anything, I'm killing myself. I'm getting rid of myself for you.
That's fair, I guess.
You don't have to deal with the problem no more. So I just think there's a lot of penalization on people to keep them in there so they can get money. It's about the money. It's all about the money. And I'm not saying that there aren't people that deserve to be locked up forever. Trust me, I was locked up with some of them, friends with some of them that need to be. They're not good people. At one point, I might have considered myself one of those people. I'll be 110% honest with you. And until it clicked, until it clicked for me, I was one of those. And so I just feel like everybody, like, because you never know when people's going to get it right. But when you give nobody an option, like when there's people down here and you got your younger brother, your younger sister starving, or you got your grandmother who can't get her medicine, whatever the case may be, and you're out there trying to get that money for that or get this money for that, you're going to come up however you are, and God's going to bless you and look out for you because you're trying to take care of your people. And it's their job to put you, just like I said, the dog earlier, clock in and out. It's their job. So I'm not, but there's good cops as well. You know what I mean? I've met good police officers also. And I've met good probation officers also.
Mhm.
They're few and far between.
Yes.
I think there needs to be some kind of moral.
My thing is before we get too far down, is I think the idea is there. The idea, the principle behind
with the
the
justice
justice system, the jail, the idea
Well,
is
well-
there. It's pure, but it's been corrupted by
Well,
individuals and money.
Well, okay, you got to think when they come up with this justice system, way back whenever the Greeks or whoever come up with
Whenever.
whatever.
Who knows who made it up?
I didn't check
We
all
didn't
that
check
out.
all that.
Right.
But
When the Anunnaki, whoever made all of it.
Just continue.
But anyway, like they probably had honorable people in mind, like people with a morale, people with a conscience, people with morals. Either that, or they was like, look, we can entertain these slaves with this mock bullshit and keep them under control at the same time. So either way, it's one of those two is how it went down.
Mm-hmm.
There was either honorable people in place and it was all meant to be right, or they was like, look, this is the way we control the masses.
I also want to throw out here, it was made who knows how long ago, to be honest.
No. I mean, there's
like
always been
anything,
somebody.
I think it needs to evolve.
Yes.
Once things started to be flawed, you need to fix it. And I think they've just said, hey, this is the system. We're going to do this system forever and it's going to work. But no, you need to fix it, especially when you're going to make new laws, put new people in power.
Well, because the people are flawed.
Yes.
You got flawed people. Just like I said, we all played board games when we was a kid.
And cheated.
And all of us cheated.
I've cheated.
It's human nature that if there's a game and we're playing to win, that I'm going to do whatever it takes to win.
Yes.
It's human nature. And there's flawed people that rather than win on their own merits will easily cheat. And it's just part of society, it's part of who we are. So therefore, when you make police officers, prosecutors, judges, whoever, congressmen, senators, all these people get rewarded for their numbers, then you're hurting your population, your community. It's not going to work out. Even in the smallest of towns, you drive in your car, you drive through the smallest of town, you're going 3 miles over the speed limit, whoop, whoop, they pull you over. They know you're not in that town. They know you're not from there because they know all 50 people that live there. But they know every time somebody comes through there and they pull somebody over, That's $250 for their town. And if they get so many of those, guess what they get?
A
A
bonus.
bonus. You know what I mean? So, what is, it's just and they already tax us to death. Like you already get taxed for everything, and then when you die, you get the state tax. Your family's got to pay. Like they already kill us in taxes. Like I said earlier, all that money for taxes to take care of inmates. So, like, why do they really need to write us these infractions and these tickets to make more money? As we seen during COVID, if they want more money, they just print more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they just print more. So print some more money and let's get it over with. But stop locking people up for frivolous shit. Is the way I feel. I feel like you hurt a child or you harm an animal or harm an innocent person, an old lady, old man. You know what I mean? Somebody innocent. I feel like you deserve whatever the fuck you get.
It's fair. It's a good way to put it, I guess.
You know what I mean?
With that said, I agree. I just don't necessarily know if death is ever the answer.
No, death isn't the answer. Death.
Because, for instance, I'm going to throw this out here, and this might be controversial. I might go off on something here, so bear with me. For instance, once again, this is on Netflix. It's a documentary, so you never know what you can believe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you have somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer did messed up, cruel things to individuals. At the end, turns around, puts his faith in God, is living a normal rehabilitated rehabilitated life. Let him just live in the prison. You don't have to kill him.
No, well, yeah,
right?
no.
You don't have to take his. You don't.
But okay.
Time out. I'm not done.
Okay.
I'm not done.
Okay.
Then you watch, for instance, the Ed Gein documentary or the on there. He did once again obscene, messed up things, immoral, should not happen. It's messed up. Took lives. Okay, but then ends up helping find other killers, solve other cases. You shouldn't. I mean, he didn't. He died of his own merit. He just lung cancer, I believe. But like, if somebody was to kill him, that's not right. You don't fix one wrong with another wrong. Just like you said, the police doing illegal tactics.
Right. No, you're right. I don't believe you should kill anybody. I believe they can live in prison. But here's another like I said earlier, you look at things from multiple sides. So what if that was your child that they did that to?
I'd want them to be locked up forever.
You wouldn't want them dead?
I've been incarcerated.
I'd want them dead.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I've been incarcerated. I don't think there's anything worse than being incarcerated. I think death is the easy way out. You let that, he's done. He don't have to deal with it no more. Death is easier.
You're right.
Set in stone, think it. You have
but not on all occasions, because like there was just a man in Florida who was executed, and they
did whatever to him.
Buckled the electric chair, messed up. They electrocuted him 3 times, and his head caught on fire before he died. Now that's cruel. It's inhumane.
Well, it's messed up.
And then they found out he's innocent.
Yes.
After they did that to him.
Well, so that's my other thing. That's the other side of it. What happens if afterwards you find out this guy's innocent? Then you just killed somebody for no reason.
And they do a lot.
This is an extremely flawed system. So why
insane.
Even make that a punishment? Why is death a punishment if you can find out later? Because there's so many times that there's people convicted of murder or whatever, they go back and appeal.
Yep.
And it turns out, well, the prosecutor at that time had a vendetta against them and pushed it, or the police officer lied, or whatever, and then
there's a
fill
lot
that
of,
out 20-some years later.
There's a lot of that because you got to think these prosecutors and these police, they get tunnel vision. So like they start working a case or whatever, and they got their suspect, and they know this is him. This is it.
Yes.
And they don't look at the other people that could be.
They're not looking at it objectively. Right. They're looking at it as this is the guy I think did it, so I'm going to go after him.
Right.
Or you have instances it's like, okay, well, you went to school with this cop. You made fun of this cop's mustache when he was 17 because he looked like an idiot.
Or slept with his girlfriend.
Or slept with his girlfriend or whatever.
Or his niece or his cousin.
Tackled him on the football field. And now he's mad at you. So now next thing you know, you're spending 15 years in prison because he said you assaulted somebody. And really, it was your brother Greg.
Right.
But he don't like you.
Right. No, you have a lot of that, especially in like smaller towns.
Yes.
A lot of that.
And
is
once
smart
again,
counsel.
none of those people are being rehabilitated. Also, if the prison system's built to rehabilitate, why kill somebody?
Right.
You can't
I
rehabilitate somebody if
agree.
they're dead.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I think there needs to be a whole overall of the justice system, but that's never going to happen. They can reform it though.
I mean, there's things that work.
There's things that
I'll be
do work.
honest. Look, I went in there and I was at first of the mindset, hey, nothing in here is going to make me better. I didn't do nothing wrong. Okay, but after sitting down and talking to people about my faith and about my spirituality, it comes to, okay, maybe I need to make some changes for me. So, like, there's things like if you want a Bible study that work, or talking to, like, I talked to some therapists and things in there just to get a clear understanding of where my head's at. Those things can work, but it's all about how you interpret it. If you go in thinking, hey, this place is going to suck ass, I'm not going to get any better, you're not going to get any better.
Look, you go in there, it's going to suck ass. I'm just going.
Well, it's going to suck.
Right,
but if you go in with that mentality, it only gets worse.
It's fucking horrible. The walls are dirty. It's dirty, disgusting. The phone sucks. The clothes are orange and disgusting looking. It's horrible. Don't go. Sorry.
Continue.
Nah,
There's just nowhere I can go from there.
It's just horrible.
Actually, no, I'm not going to just leave it at that, because I had a point I was going to make. If you go in there with the mentality, hey, I made a mistake, how do I fix this to where I never do it again? It's on you to fix that, change it, and rehabilitate yourself, because the system's not going to do that. They're going to put people in your way that are going to make it harder for you to do that. They're going to put you in there with inmates who don't care. They're going to put you in there with guards who are going to belittle you and put you down. They're going to lock you down for 23 hours a day and make it and take away all your accessibilities to get better. It's on you as a person to say, hey, I got to change.
There's so many inhumane things that go on.
Well, that's a whole nother podcast. We could be here for 10 hours talking about how inhumane it is.
Just some of this stuff, and we might do that. We might come right back, because I got people that are locked up that I'd like to shine some light on.
They're dealing with it right now.
Yeah, they're dealing with it right now. I mean, some of the way they're fed. I've seen them drop people's food on the floor and tell them to pick it up, and all kinds of crazy shit.
Look, and
like
I've heard of people that are younger than me. I'm 25 years old. I was in there with a guy at the time I was 19. He had been in there from the time he was 18, so he was 21. So he'd already been in there 3 years. He got convicted. He was in there for murder. Okay. Does not remember what happened the night of, other than the fact that he is 100% sure that he didn't do it. And the reason he's in there is because who did it is holding his family hostage. And he can't say he didn't do it. So you have those situations too. Is he being rehabilitated?
Yeah, but I don't know if I believe all that.
No, it was proven.
It was proven.
It was proven. I saw the.
Well, there's just a lot. Like, you don't know.
There's so much going on.
But there's a lot
going on. You know what I mean? Like, there's.
And then you get inmates. What's crazy is I've been locked up everywhere, like I said. You get these inmates that'll go in there and want to be like work for the guards and tell on other inmates. And they was getting people thrown out of the pod, and like,
for what reason?
I got mad, and the dude's up there and he's at the little guard shack and he's telling the guard. He's snitching. And I walk right up beside him. I'm like, hey, excuse me, officer. He said, yeah, what can I do for you? And I said, man, don't you think these guys that come up here and tell on everybody and get everybody carted out of the pod are whores? Like, just, they're whores, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
And he looked right at me, and you have no respect for him, do you, officer? He looked right at dude and was like, he's right, I have no respect, whores. You know what I mean? Like, because they're playing you the whole time, everybody.
Another game.
It's one big game.
All the time.
And so, like, once you can sit back and say, you know what? I'm not going to play this game no more. That's the key. Like, you got to step out of the game.
And get in your own headspace and figure out
how to yourself,
get out of the whole situation.
Regroup. Like I said, I've been there multiple times.
Too many times.
I can't even tell you how many. And like most of the time I go in there and, you know, I'm into everything and I'm wilding out and I don't care. I'm ready to get out and get back in here. You know what I'm saying? But once I sat down and I realized, like, look, this ain't what God don't want me doing this. Mm-mm. I'm spitting in his face. I'm wasting his time.
Yep.
Once I realized that, and I realized that I had a purpose, something else that I need to be doing. Mm-hmm. I took my time in there and tried to make the best of it. As far as talking to other people who are going through spiritual, dealing with spiritual stuff or dealing with loss of family. I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of people in there, like while they're incarcerated. I know, I don't think he'd mind me saying, one of my close friends, Jason DiArco, I know he's lost people while he was incarcerated. I know he lost Rick. I know he lost his mom, Like, I know he's been locked up and lost people, and I couldn't imagine. Like, so I know there's stuff like that. And people are like, well, he shouldn't have been breaking the law then. Well, like I said, maybe he didn't have many choices. Maybe it's this or you don't eat. And then once you're so used to just making money hand over a fist, you're addicted to that. Like that becomes your addiction. Making money becomes your addiction.
Watch the addiction podcast. We talk about that.
We do talk about that.
You want to read
Yeah.
our scripture for the
Well,
podcast?
well, it was the Gospel of Thomas. It's not really considered scripture.
Thanks for the correction.
Yeah, it's not. They don't consider it scripture. It's a apocryphal.
Okay. Do your thing.
Okay. So Yeshua then he says, a man is like a skilled fisherman who cast his net into the sea. He brought it up out of the sea full of little fishes, and among them the skilled fisherman found one that was big and excellent. He threw all the little fishes back into the sea without hesitating. He chose the big fish. He who has ears to hear, let them hear. Okay, so what he's saying there is, I'm pretty sure that like when you're searching for knowledge, spiritual knowledge, you'll find little bits and pieces along the way.
Yes.
But then eventually you're going to come to the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you're going to go,
speak up.
That's what you're going to go.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Once you get to God and your true divine purpose, you're searching through life. You find all these little distractions. But once you find your divine purpose, that one big fish, you hold on to it and go for it. And I believe that's what he's trying to tell you.
Okay.
So like, you're trying to figure out what your purpose is in life. You have this little job, this little job, this little job, this little job. You're not focusing on what you really love and what's true to your heart. And once you do, you get that big fish. You don't need none of the little stuff. Right. Basically, don't cry over crumbs or something like that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Before we go, I'm just going to ask you, Dad.
Yeah.
Since it's do you think prison actually rehabilitates you?
I think it's on each individual. I think it's what you take away from it.
Okay.
What you do with it. As far as the justice system itself, no, I don't feel it rehabilitates anybody. But I feel like as a person, if you go in there with the mindset, this is going to be my last time, that it could be your last time.
Okay. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Pops. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
As always, all praise to God, and thank